Hi guys, I'm going to make a sawbuck today for my convenience. I often get down to these short pieces of tree that are too awkward to handle safely, and what I've been doing is I'll take 3 logs and lay them down, one here, and one there, and lay the big log on top, hold it with my knee, foot, or hand while I cut with the other hand, which is dangerous because you want both hands on the chainsaw and you don't want any of your appendages, legs, arms, by it. So I got thinking, I've got this lumber here, scrap wood that I've had, and it's got a sharp cut angle on one end. All 3 pieces have a sharp slope. So I'm going to lay them out in the order of how I would with logs and space it out so I can make a cut on the end and then a cut here, and then what's left is a piece big enough for the wood stove. My wood stove can only take 12, 13, 14-inch pieces. So my frame will be a little bit smaller than your average frame, which is about 16. Chris, what, 18 inches average, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So I can't take an 18-inch piece of wood in my wood stove. It won't even fit. So I've got this sharp slope here to roll the log up onto, and I'm going to cut a bit of a V-notch in here, a shallow V-notch. I'll cut this off here, and then I'll put 2x4 framing to hold it together, and then I can come in here with a chainsaw and cut without any danger of hurting the chainsaw or myself. So I'm going to go ahead and take these over on the bench, and I'm going to make a cut here and here real quick, and we'll be back in a minute once I've cut them to size. I've cut my 3 boards, and now I'm marking out the angle, the V-notch that I'm going to cut in here to hold the log from rolling away. I've got a 12-inch wide cut that's going to be 2 inches deep, which should take most of the logs that I've got to deal with around here. Most of our trees are younger trees. This property was cow pasture up till, I don't know when they last logged it, but most of the trees are young growth. So now I'm going to use a sawzall and cut out those notches. So we'll be back in a minute once I've got them cut out. Well, there it is, guys. I've cut a V-notch 12 inches wide to give me room for larger logs. And then what I've done here is I've taken my average log. This is 14 inches. This is a cut log that will fit. So like I said, 12 to 14 inches we fit in the wood stove. And this way, when I have a log on here, I can cut dead center in between my framing on the last piece. So what I'll do is I'll lay the log out and I'll cut right about here. I don't know if you can see where my hand is, right? Yeah. I'll cut right about here, and then I'll make another cut right here dead center, and that should hopefully stay in place as I'm doing the cut. So we'll see once I get it all together. Now I'm out of wood screws, so I'm going to have to get the framing nailer together. I do have a framing nailer, and so I'll be making the frame with this here using that. So I'm going to cut my end pieces out of 2x4s, and I'm going to put legs across the bottom, one across here and one across here as well, and like I said, one on the end for strength, so there's no wobble in this at all. So I'm going to measure that, cut my 2x4s, and we'll be back in a few minutes to piece it together. Hi guys, I've got my pieces cut, and I've roughly marked them out where they're going to go. And I'm laying everything out for nailing. Doesn't have to be perfect, this is just a sawbuck. Actually, a little bit of overhang won't hurt that at all. This old recycled wood. Okay, I think we're ready to fire up the air compressor. I'm going to double check that the measurements roughly. Just make sure it's somewhat equal. Let me see, we got 12 and 19 over here. Got 12 and 19, looks good. I got my framing nailer. Because, like I said, I don't have screws, but I got framing nails. I'm gonna go pop, 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 and be done. I'm gonna fire up the generator and air compressor, and we'll be back in a minute. Hi guys, got my air compressor on. Got the framing nailer here. Oops, pressure isn't high enough. Better check my pressure. Be back in a minute. Alright guys, my generator had blown a breaker. Should be good now. Oh yeah. Pretty solid. I'm going to put the end piece on. Oh, it's sort of heavy too. That's a good thing though. Alright guys, now the true test, and this is a heavy log, so I'm not sure, but the idea is that hopefully I can roll this up onto my frame. Now, I can cut it, I adjust it a little bit I think, yeah, but anyway, we can now make some cuts. Cut it here. Cut it here, cut it here. We got ourselves a nice setup. Now the true test is to fire up the chainsaw and make some real cuts. So, I gotta get myself dressed up and we'll be back in a little bit. Hi guys, first run, see how it works. Cut the butt off because this is currently an offset. Now I've got one here. Looks good.
Good to me too.
What's that?
It looks good to me too.
Way better than trying to mess with that on the ground.
Yep.
Well, I've got a lot more to do, so I'm going to get to work, guys. Definitely easier than working on the ground. There it is. Well, another successful project done. Back to work. Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. Talk to you all later. Looking good. Please do like, subscribe, and share, and watch my daily videos as we strive to become off the grid and self-sufficient on a budget.